Good morning, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scorpio here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is Sunday, April 17th, and the moon is in Scorpio all day. Happy Easter to those of you who celebrate Easter. This is a time, no matter what religion that you might be connected to or aligned with, or if no religion at all, is a time of rebirth. And having a Scorpio moon today is pretty apt, I think. Scorpio being the sign of death and rebirth, and a sign of emotional intensity. And we are in an emotionally intense time. Tomorrow we have a square between the Sun and Pluto. So there's issues around power and control and taking action and feeling the need to take action for your survival. And also later, for some folk, later tonight, we have activity with Uranus and Venus and Mercury. Today we definitely have a sextile between Venus and Mercury. Sextiles are mentally stimulating, opening the lines of communication. Let's see if I can show you that little. That was a what are those? A nuthatch. That was a nuthatch on the thing. Just thought I'd show you. Anyway, yes, and of course Venus is the planet of love and relationship. And Mercury is a planet of communication. And so we have an opportunity to communicate with one another. The addition of Uranus coming in and making a conjunction to Neptune and a sextile to Venus asks us to relate and communicate in out-of-the-box ways, in unique ways, in ways in which we respect people's need to be free and to be who they are. It's a pretty powerful. It's a pretty powerful time, actually, with this energy, and of course, we can certainly see the sort of struggle between self-governance and an ability to have the right and the freedom to choose for yourself versus the energy of the authoritarian or having no power to change what the leaders are doing. So these are all themes that we are contending with at this time. But this conjunction to Uranus of Mercury and the sextile to Venus, which is coming late, for some people early tomorrow morning and for some people late tonight, is in its way pointing in the direction of a new relationship. The sextile between Mercury and Venus is a waning sextile, and so it's part of a cycle that actually began in 2012 when those two planets, Venus and Uranus, were conjunct. That was at 11 degrees of Aquarius. That happened last April, I believe the 22nd, which was Earth Day. And now it's come around to this place of understanding. Now remember, we did have a Venus retrograde cycle through that period, with Venus retrograde in Capricorn. So Venus has had a real sort of grasp and sense of what it is to be an authority in her own life and what it is that's important to her and what is her relationship to authority and her own inner authority. And so she comes and meets up with Uranus now after that retrograde journey through Capricorn. Changed and more sure of herself and more sure of what's important. And now she comes up with Uranus, and Uranus helps us to think outside of the box, to share what we know, to communicate. I think one of the mistakes that we make is that we think that we can define the future by the past. And while very often we do, kind of like the whole thing, when it's the midterms, the other whoever is not in, who's whatever party that's not in power gets the house or something like that. Like, oh, the Democrats are definitely going to lose that. Like, that whole thing is because it's always been like that. But it doesn't have to be. See, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be. And we don't have to have a prolonged war in the Ukraine. We don't have to do it in the old way. Of course, the world is gearing up to do things in the old way, but the people may have another idea. And certainly, I think we all have another idea. It's time to do it differently. It's time to not do it at all, right? Not do the war thing at all. I mean, who has the right? And we do have to come to a new sense of cooperation if we expect to survive and thrive in this new world. So that's kind of where we sit. While the South Node is going through Scorpio, the past will come up, the past shadows will come up to be seen and to be healed. And the way forward is in the direction of peace and harmony and stability. But with Saturn square the nodes, now we're going to have to face up to our past and our responsibility around our past. And I was watching a video from some gentleman in I think he's from India. India's Pakistan, but I think it was India. And he was talking. I was on Democracy Now! And they were saying they were like surprised that India is sort of like stepping back from this whole Ukrainian thing, and they're not like jumping in. And his point was, you suddenly this situation is, in everybody's mind, and everybody wants everybody to like get in line. Now, of course, this gentleman doesn't think that what Putin was doing was a good thing, or that he should be doing it, and that he definitely thinks he should stop doing it. But the point was, we had to see it through the eyes of the people who have seen us in a different light as we move through what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan, and just this whole sort of double standard that the West has. And it's all very, very true. And so we need to take those points of view into consideration and fess up to our own prejudices when it comes to who we're willing to help and who we're not willing to help, and who gets picked on and who gets raised up. So these are all issues that, in the world need to be looked at and are being looked at, because it's in front of us. I wouldn't have heard about this. I wouldn't have seen that gentleman on Democracy Now! If it wasn't happening, and it's happening. So awareness is there, but now it's time to take that awareness and use it for the good, right? Use it for the good. So let's be more loving to one another on this beautiful Easter day. I mean, this is just wonderful. And really, like, Easter is the rising of the sun, or the Son of God, or just the sun. And there you go, rising up. And when you look at the sun, you see the cross in it. I don't know if you're looking at the sun right now. I'm blind. I'm blinded by the light. Anywho, rise up. Rise up today. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up. How does that song go? I'll rise up today. I'll rise up despite of the ache. I'll rise up. And I can't remember the rest of the words, so sorry about that. Next time I'll check the words before I start singing. All right, guys, have a great rebirth. And happy Easter, Ramadan, Passover and anything else I might have missed. I know there's a couple of others, but it's all about rebirth, and it's all about spring, and it's all about new beginnings. So it's time to act and respond in a different way, in a more loving and inclusive way. We can do this, folks. We can do this in a moment if we choose, but it might take a little longer than that. All right, guys, take care. Much love. Namaste.